Hello everybody, welcome back to another tutorial. This time we are going to talk about blending. That's the latest thing I've seen that people are having trouble with is blending. So I am doing one of the most blended cards that I've done ever, which is Golos. Golos is a ton of blending. It's pretty much all he is. That's all the card is just learning how to blend. So break out your this card's now like $11. Break out your $11 Goloses and paint along with me. We'll make some happy little accidents. We'll paint some happy little trees, and we will get a Golos fully painted and beautiful. So if you watched my last series, I talked about how I started cards. I start cards by color blocking a lot of times. So most parts of the card, I mean, you can totally see where I'm extending right now. Most parts of every card, you're like, okay, this is green and brown and, you know, yellow. This is green and brown. This is like an orangey red and black, you know? So you can start thinking about those colors you're making. Sorry, I got the hiccups. Start thinking about what colors you're going to be making there. And a great place to start when you're painting, even just getting your eyes to adjust to what you're painting, you're kind of like, oh, okay, like these things in the background here. Oh my god, I just got red paint all over my hands. Let me clean that up before I put it all over the card. So when you're looking at a painting, sometimes it's really, or you know, an altar, it's really hard to know where to start. So when you're color blocking, as in you're just putting one color in an area, so like I'm just putting my kind of my darkest color that's not a shadow, it's not a super low light. I guess picture like mid color. Like this is going to be a green. A green is going to be like the mid color there. So as you're just like kind of putting your first pass of light color, like I did this green, and again, it's a little sloppy. Obviously, make it as nice as you can, but it's a little sloppy. That's perfectly fine. We're gonna clean up in the end. You can. It gets your juices flowing. It gets you to understand, like, okay, yeah, this is green. Oh, I see some orange in there. I didn't put any orange in there. You know, you start really getting into the painting. What I really like about altars, and I say this, and you know, it's what all humans do. They disparage themselves a little bit. You know, my paintings are fine. Like, I like painting. I think I'm pretty good at it. My paintings are fine. But, you know, Joseph Meehan, who I've met, super awesome dude, who painted this, is on a fucking level. On a level that I am not at in painting. So, and I mean, that goes for, I think, every single artist, you know, every single magic artist that I am altering. They're better painters than I am. And whoever's watching this now, if you're a better painter than them, awesome. But most of us aren't. So as you are going through and figuring out all the colors you're using and what kind of palettes they were using or you're going to use to extend it, it really allows you to start getting into better artists. You start looking at artists that are doing this thing better than you. I mean, again, I don't mean to insult whoever's watching, but I'm just speaking for myself. Joseph Meehan is on multiple levels above me by a long shot. So what I really like about altering is that I'm getting to absorb a lot of where their minds were, where they draw their inspiration from where they how they paint, and it makes me a better artist. I mean, to be honest, I'm imitating their style, you know? I'm imitating what Joseph did here and trying my best to match what he did. And if you're doing that for multiple cards, multiple artists, you are going to find a better style for yourself. You're going to understand what they've been doing, and you're gonna understand what their techniques are, and you're gonna be a better artist, and you're gonna be a better altarist if you are really paying attention to the people's art that you are doing. You know, this is a hobby for most people, This is something that should be really enjoyable. And sometimes you just can't get into the card. You know, you're just like, oh, I don't know, like I'm just painting this card because, you know, either I got paid by my friend to, or this is my favorite. This is my favorite general, and I'm just painting it. But like, really try to get into what style they go for, and it's gonna help help you in your blending, in your just appreciation for what these people are doing. It's so hard. I said this in my last video, and I will say it every single video. Art is the hardest thing a human can do. It just is, in all facets. It takes so much to make art, and then when you're painting this person's art, you're also someone can directly compare you to. I mean, let's be honest; these are masters of fantasy art. You know, people who paint Magic the Gathering cards or do it digitally or whatever, they are masters of fantasy art. So you are now putting your paintbrush next to their, obviously, you know, not their paintbrush, but you're putting it next to their ideas, their brain, their heart. Sorry, not COVID, promise. But when you really start to like figure out how am I going to blend their art into my art, it really takes, it's going to behoove you to take a moment to pass along. Like, I'm not doing these rocks over here, I'm just kind of doing here up. You can see how this is just like this really, it's not even close. Like, it's a brownish black, but it's not close to what I need. These are not close. Nothing's close. You'll see as I continually make passes around, I'm going to be building up my blending. So let's get to the actual meat of what we're talking about. Now that you've made it past my intro of talking about how much I love art, let's talk about actual blending. So my style, if you again watch my other one, my other tutorial, my style is using a wet canvas with Golden or Arteza. These are the two I use, Golden or Arteza. You see that nicely? Yeah. Our Golden or Arteza. And I put onto a wet palette one little smear of acrylic. And if you could see, like, this orange is a great example of it. Let's see if this will pick it up nicely. This orange, you can see there's a blob on the top, and then in the southeast quadrant here, it's kind of just like smeared over. What you're doing there is you're giving yourself a blob to just poke into and get pure orange, or this little smear, think of it as a spot to mix. So you can see here I have a brown because I'm making mostly brown, but then I put a little bit of everything I think goes in there. And as I'm using this, because it's a wet palette, it's going to stay wet for a pretty long time, I can continue to drag more brown in. Look at that. That's like absolutely the perfect color. I can drag more brown in, add a little bit of ochre. All right, yeah, that's cool. You know? And as I'm doing that, I am now making, granted it's not a lot of that paint, it's a small amount of that paint, but I am making the perfect color. I am making the absolute perfect brown that I want for this really dark shadow of this cliff. So, I mean, and then because it's thin acrylics, you can kind of test it over here. Oh yeah, that's about the, that's closer. It's not the right color, but it's closer color. So you continually are making yourself these little reservoirs everywhere. So this is like a thinned out black. This is like a green, but mostly ochre. This is, I mean, you can see this blob. It's like green and brown and ochre and white. So as you're doing things, and you can make a separate little guy here, a little bit of ochre, a little bit of white. So I just want a really pale, too pale. I want a really pale, too pale of this ochre. It's actually not called ochre. Yeah, it's yellow ochre. So now that I thinned it out, I can just put, because with Golos we're doing these like cliffs, they're little rocks everywhere, and they're little rocks that have a lot of sunshine and a lot of shadow, because with sunshine comes shadow. So I want to do just small little blips. I don't want any big, like, see that? I just made like these big blops. Those don't look like rocks. I mean, they kind of do. so I can just kind of drag lazily my very long lining brush along, and see, that looks a little better. It's like this like very light, very opaque ochre, like a nice yellowy browny color. You know what, as I'm looking around, I'm like seeing, yeah, this needs a little bit of highlight here. Around here, these could use some highlights. This needs to be a little darker. Yeah, that's definitely that color. So as you are mixing your color, and you're putting it around the card, you are then trying to understand what color Joseph was trying to go for, and what color he had in his palette. Because, you know, when you're making an original painting, you don't have to color match. You know, you just go, this rock's orange, bing, bang, boom, it's orange. This rock's brown, and it's like, it could be a brown out of their tube. And, like, we don't have that brown. We don't know what brand they use. We don't know what color of, I mean, if you look at any of these brands, they have a million colors. Also, it could be digital. So let's talk about color matching with digital. Do your best. All right, done. Over. Let's keep going. I think Joseph does traditional. Most of like the digital artists are very, you know, like not vocal, but very like, yes, this is definitely digital, and look at all my digital stuff. I'm selling NFTs. And a lot of the traditional people do a lot of like card signings, and they're really like kind of out there a little, not a little bit more, you know what I'm trying to say, like they're a little bit more easily found or easily representing. I don't know what I'm trying to say. You know what I'm trying to say. The people who do traditional art normally are a little older. They've been doing it for a while. That's what Joseph's done. But also, you know, they normally have this kind of style. I mean, I guess you can do this in digital, but it's really easy to blend and color match with an artist that you know was using paints as well. So, as I'm blending, I'm doing this one technique that I learned early on, and it made a huge difference. I'm keeping this for everyone that's watching 12 minutes in. And that technique is using your forefinger. I use my right finger. So I'm going to take this like dark brown, or dark green, sorry. I mean, I'm actually laying it in the right spots, but if I put too much and I want to wipe it, all I'm going to try to do is like wipe it away a little bit. So it's like dry brushing. So I'm painting it on like normal. It's just a very small amount. I'm painting it on like normal. And then as it's on there, I just wipe away what I want. And it's okay to put your actual finger on acrylic. I'm not pushing on it. I'm lightly touching it. I mean, you're taking liquid off of cardboard. Do not push on it. That's very bad. I'm just going to lightly brush it. And as I do that, I mean, if you've painted a little bit, you know what dry brushing is. Dry brushing is when you put paint onto your paintbrush, and you kind of just just run your paintbrush over a towel with the paint on it, so it's just a dry amount of paint on the end of your paintbrush, and you can just kind of like drag that along, say, a miniature or a painting to make just a little bit of that come out. What I do is I dry brush once I put the thing on there. So I'm trying to blend this rock here. And I got like 3 colors I'm trying to blend the same, or trying to make look right. So I'm doing this yellowy ochre, doing that dark green, and I'm also doing this like light gray brown. So if you notice what I did, I was kind of like, on the top I want a lot of yellow, the middle I want a lot of green, and the bottom I want a lot of brown. So as I'm blending this on, and I'm figuring out where I'm putting my greens and browns, I can take it and just kind of like blot it a little bit with my finger. It's not like I'm not doing any secret technique. I'm literally just taking my finger, putting no pressure on it. I mean, my hand probably weighs, what, a pound at the very most. I'm putting no pressure on it, and I'm just wiping it away. Obviously, wipe it away onto your surface. I wouldn't suggest anything but paper. I've seen some people do it with not paper. They do it with like a paper towel. It's just, I don't know who told them that is okay, but this construction paper works incredibly well to have a surface that is flat and clean, and if you take videos, it's very easy to see the card. And also, disposable. That's what I'm assuming people are using their things for, is just so it's disposable and easy. You know, this is disposable and easy, and depending on how good your city is, and also recycle. My city's kind of weird about recycling. If there's like any food on your cardboard, they won't take it. But we have a pretty good percentage. We're like in the 90s. You can check how much of the recycling actually gets recycled, and we're very high up there. Ooh, that was just like a perfect rock first try. Obviously, it's only one layer, so I'm gonna have to go through and continue going, but that's like a great base layer. So I'm not doing any of the highlights or shadows. So I'm not doing any of the lighter colors. I'm not doing any of the darker colors. I'm doing all the mid colors. That is a really, really good way to start. You do all of the mid colors and don't need to make it perfect right away. You don't. You really, really don't. If you watch any of my time lapses, you'll see that there are some that look like they come together really fast, but my time lapses are like, I'm taking like a picture every like 50 seconds. So it looks like it's fast, but it's really not. It definitely takes me an hour and a half, 2 hours to do some of these. But you don't have to make it perfect on your first go. And in fact, if you do make it perfect on your first go, you should second guess that. You should look at it and go, that was not supposed to happen that way. You know, Steve told me it's not supposed to be like that. What did I do wrong? I want you to say that if on your first pass you make the rock perfect and you're like, oh, I don't have to go over that again. All right, all right. Hopefully it didn't skip around too much. I just started and restarted the camera so I can like save, I guess, portions, you know? Anyway. What we're gonna do is, every once in a while, whenever you're feeling it, whenever you feel like you need a break from painting and blending, just go in and clean up your borders. Something I really like about Magic cards are these borders. This new border that came out, I mean, I say new borders because I'm an old player, but this border they came out that's all spiky, I love it. It's so much fun to paint around. It's so much fun to like put things over, you know what I mean? Like his staff is going to go over it a little bit. And it's just like, it looks so cool. It's like soft and beautiful, and it looks like stonework, and it just, when they came out with this, I was blown away, impressed. I don't think there was a person who was not happy with it. Like, how would you not like this? Look how pretty this is. So this magic eraser I talked about it last time. I use just a simple toothpick. Get like bamboo natural toothpicks, work good. Dip it in a little bit of water, and then wipe off that water, so it's like literally just a tiny bit of soak on it. And then there is a paintbrush that I didn't really like. How big is it? Is it 2? The size is a 2. It's a chisel blender. But I just chopped it down. I just like cut it down, so it's only like, I don't know. We can actually measure for posterity. Oh, come on, open. We can measure, if I could find a ruler. So I chopped down this size 2 chisel blender to a little less than 1/2 inch. little less than half an inch. And I just dip this in water, get it real wet, and I can just erase anything. I put a little bit of pressure on it, not too much, but because I'm only hitting it with the bristles, you're not going to scratch, you're not going to do anything. These toothpicks, you can scratch. So if you're not getting the paint off in your first go, relax, take some time, get it more wet. If you keep on trying, you will scratch the card, and people will notice that you scratched the card. It doesn't look that cool. Any mistake that could have been done in altering, I've done, by the way. So if you comment and you're like, hey, I did this, what the fuck, I can't believe it, I'm so stupid, like, remember that, you know, we've all done this. There's no school for altering cards. You know what I mean? We're all making it up as we go along. Some people like border extensions, like I do. Some people like to just put their own art on there. We are all making this up. There are absolutely no rules. This is your property. If you want to get really into it, if you want to get all libertarian on it, which I am not a libertarian, but like, you bought this property. This is your property. No one can tell you what you can or cannot do on this property. You can paint your Golos. You can rip it in half. You can eat it. You can put it in a little like Korean barbecue style grill while you're playing EDH. And then as you cast Golos, you take it off the grill with your little tongs. You can do whatever you want. This is your property. So if you want to draw horrible shit on it, like American flags or Sharpies, you can do that. And if you mess up on it, don't let anyone, and I hate these comments, oh, you just ruined a $5 card. Okay, it's my card. And to be honest, this Golos is already paid for. Someone already paid me to paint this Golos. So, when anyone tries to get on you for altering cards, or say, oh my god, I mean, I've painted $100 cards, you know? I've painted over $100 cards. I did one of my most famous ones, the Lake of the Dead. That thing went viral multiple different ways. And Lake of the Dead is now over $100. So if anyone tries to get on you for making a mistake and ruining your card, or if you get on yourself for making a mistake and thinking that you ruined the card, just remember how many of these exist. There are, at this point, actually, he's only been printed once. There's probably 100,000 Goloses out in the world. So if my small amount of Goloses being altered offends people, good. They are weak and they want to be in my life more than anyone wants to be in their life. And that is a fact. That is something you can use. They want to be in my life. No one wants to be in their life. So they are angry. It's a good way to talk about, we're talking about blending. So if you want me to just continue blending and showing you guys how I blend, that's cool. But oratorily, I'd like to talk about internet and internet things, and where I think alters can exist and should exist, and how to deal. How to deal. You know what I mean? Let's talk about how to deal. So when I started altering, I did it for friends for $10 a pop. Or in my friend group, you get one free. So I was like, okay, you get one free in the friend group, right? So everyone picked like their general, and because we all played EDH, no one really played Modern or Legacy anymore. And they're just like, yeah, here's my Zakama, I did 10,000 Goloses, here's my whatever, go for it. All right. So that's how I started. I started just by like, you know what, I want to do this. It's fun. If you guys want to buy me a couple booster packs to do it, I'll do it. And you guys can pay me in booster packs, as Magic players, it's kind of the currency we live in. Everything still looks good. Cool. So I started doing that. My friend Adam, who has bought original art from me as well, said, because I did his Crick, which To this day, I've only done one crick, and that guy is such a good commander. I made a crick deck before, and holy crap. Anyway, so he says, how much do you want a crick? And I was like, free. Because he's a friend, and everyone got one free. That was my thing. So I'm thinking, yeah, I'll do it for free. He's like, okay. And I give him the crick. He loses his mind. He says, oh, it's amazing. We were real happy about it. It was a really nice, it's a really dark image, but like there's lots of little details that are really fun to get in. So it's such a fun card to paint. If you have a crick, paint that thing. It's so much fun to just like stay in all dark colors. It's really fun. So anyway, I do this crick, and he gives me $20, and then he buys me 3 boosters. He's like, here's like $30 worth of $30 for this. That's what you are worth. That is what this job is. And I talked about this before, I think. People who aren't artists say the way that you should, kind of price art, because that's the hardest thing for a lot of people is pricing your art, is how much are you worth? How many hours did you spend on that? Do your multiplication, that's how much. So I'm worth $20 an hour. I spent 20 hours on this. Is the painting worth $400 if it's a bunch of crap that no one likes? No offense, you just have to be honest with this if you're trying to ask for money from people. Are people actually going to buy this painting? If it's your blown away amazing work, you're probably not going to sell it anyway. I hate to be that guy, but most artists' best work is kept by them or their family. But if it is something that you're proud of and you're really happy with it, you can definitely charge whatever you want. Again, it's your property. Go for it. But what's going to sell is going to be something priced correctly. And it's a hard pill to swallow for a lot of people that you spend 30 hours on a painting and it's going to sell for $100. Sorry. I wish it wasn't like that, but it is. And you have to take into account many, many things, but the biggest thing that people don't take into account is, was it something easy and fun to do? Did you smoke a joint while doing it? Were you drunk? Were you doing it when there was a snowstorm and you would be doing nothing else anyway? You know what I'm saying? Like, were you doing this at a time when it made you happy? Does that factor in to your price? You never take off that amount when you're following the mantra of you're worth $20 an hour and you spent 20 hours on this. So what you have to do, and for me what I had to do, was I had to find a number to sell these things for. Adam said $30 was what I was worth for the crick. The crick took an hour. That's a great profit, right? I didn't have to buy the card. I was having a lot of fun. $30. Great. So I said, okay, I am going to charge $30 for the painting. It was my first time selling on eBay. I'm going to sell my altars for $30, but that includes the card price. If the card's, under $5, it includes the card price and it includes shipping. And we'll see who bites, right? I would still be making about $20, but that's before eBay takes all your money. So I was trying my best to do it at $30, not including the price of the card. And they were selling. They were selling a little too well, to be honest. Oh my god, turn this off. They were selling a little too well. I was getting really inundated. At the time I was bartending and I couldn't make this my hustle, my real hustle that it is now. So I was like, okay, I am going to take these down. Instead of raising my price, I said, I'm going to take these down. I don't have time for this. I don't want this. I'm going to take this down. What I should have done was raise my price, because raising your price does everything you want. It makes you feel like you are getting the most for your time. You feel appreciated. You feel good about the time you're putting in because you're making way more than you think it's probably worth. Ooh, there's a perfect color to say. Keep it going. Oh, look at that. So you see, it's not the actual perfect color, but it is a perfect like representation of where I want to go. I need to make this a little lighter, but me putting that down is giving it some opacity. It's also giving it something really like close to the color. It gets my ideas flowing, and also you can see it's already there. So I don't know how well this is picking up this like orangey, brown, yellowy color, but it's a close approximation, and it gives me a really good roadmap. And what are hard things to do for people that are just starting out is figuring out that roadmap, where to start, how to do this. Like, why, I want to paint my Golos, but I don't know what color green that is, so I'm just gonna stop. So just putting down something is better than putting down nothing. It works as like your quote-unquote primer in that area, and then it also gives you an idea of how close you are to getting that color. So anyway, I took it down. I wanted to stop altering, and then the pandemic hit. Now I remember it was late March when I knew I wasn't going to go back to bartending, and I knew I needed to make some kind of money. I didn't want to dip into my savings. I'm 33, all disclosure. So I'm like, okay, I'm a healthy man. I should be making money right now. Is it raining? Something else. And so I said, all right, well, let's do the trope that I absolutely hate because it's completely like not. It's definitely bringing the lower middle class down a peg by saying making your side hustle your real hustle. But that's what I did. Oh, that's too red. Yeah, it is too red. Orange. So you see how I don't shy away from putting it on the. Oh yeah, now it's too orange. I don't even know what color I'm going for anymore. It needs brown. That's what it needs. All right. But don't shy away from putting down a color and trying it. Because if it may not look right on your paintbrush. But once you put it down, it might just flow and give you exactly what you're needing. So in my side hustle days, I'll button up this story, I promise. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna make this side hustle my real hustle, blah blah blah. And I remember sitting down, and for a whole afternoon, I went through my eBay, and I said, I am going to make profit $30 a card. That is after eBay takes my money out. That's after I buy the card. That's after shipping. I am taking home $30, and then whatever I get taxed on at the end of the year, so be it. But I am making $30 a card. Whether the card takes me 3 hours or the card takes me half an hour, I'm making $30. And that is the price point that I'm still at. I think it's perfect. Some people will say it's too low. Some people will say it's too high. And that's fine. That's absolutely fine. I cannot please everyone. Say this with me. I cannot please everyone, and I will never be able to please the internet. That is something that you need to learn if you're going to put your art on the internet, for sure. They will come for you for everything that you do. It does not matter. Now, if you're making a mistake continually, and you hear the same thing continually, then that's a great way to figure out what your shortcomings are and fix them. However, the internet will always be there to tell you you're doing something wrong. That is a guarantee. They are not going anywhere. They will tell you that orange looks like shit. Which it does. Actually, no, I kind of like that orange. I'm going to give... This guy who bought this is going to get a nice orangey outcrop there. I like that. You know what? That was the right decision. That was the right decision, and I like it. So now, if you look, I really like all the rocks. All of the faces are kind of making sense. They're all in there, pointing towards the sun. You can see the sun's kind of coming this way, but it's coming from the right, but it's still shining on everything. And I'm just going in and putting some erroneous shadows in there to give it more of like a rocky feel. So it's like a very brown, black, a little bit of gray. I really like mixing browns and then a light color. So I do like like for certain like oranges or for anything, I'll put the green that I want, a little bit of black, a little bit of white, and it like mutes it. It mutes the green, and you can blend it super, super well. I should have been talking about that. That's another trick. So you take your color that you're like, okay, this is going to be a brown. Right? I'm not doing it right now, so this is not what's actually happening. I'm just going to tell you how to do this trick. So you're like, okay, I'm going to make this brown, right? And you make the brown, and it looks okay, but there's something missing. There's just something missing. I don't know what it is. There's something missing. You're like, okay, let me add a little bit of white. It's a little better, but like, there's something still amiss. Add a little bit of black. Add a little bit of white and then a little bit of black. I mean, put a minuscule amount of black in there if you're making a light green or something. But just try it. It may be the wrong thing, but acrylic paints aren't that expensive. It might be wrong. But I have found that more often than not, when I am stuck on a color and I cannot color match it, you add a little bit of brown and then like a little bit, or, add a little bit of black, a little bit of white. And I don't know. I mean, I do know. I think it's because you're working with a muted palette. This is extremely matte. I mean, there's no gloss to it. If you can, I mean, there are some Japanese printers that'll put a gloss on it, but the art, the text box, everything is matte. It's matte as fuck. So when you're adding blacks and whites to things, you are muting it, and you're giving it what the treatment that these people did to put it onto a Magic card. Because if you find the actual art of Golos, I mean, I don't know, I'm talking out my ass, but you find the actual art of Golos, I have a feeling he's not going to be this matte. The colors are going to be richer and really saturated, and the whites are going to be like popping out everywhere. These blacks are definitely going to be darker than they are on the card. These are all things that you will know if you've painted actual, canvases, is that your colors come out real nice and rich. That's why, I'm just going to go on a tangent, that's why NFTs will never do what art can do. Art will forever be able to do. But when you see a painting that you've only seen digitally, it's like so much brighter and richer, and it's got a varnish on it. And it's just like they put the lights in certain ways. You can see things you haven't seen on like digitally with a perfect light source. It's really cool to... I'm going to add some brown up here. I don't think I've never put brown up here, though. I'm just going to, like, line these. Yeah, that looks way better. Alright, new trick. I just ran, this light brown that I've been working with, like, light dark brown. And I just, put a little thin line on the edges of these two cliffs. And it made a huge difference. It looks way better. What was I saying? Yeah, so you're going to be working on a matte palette. So your colors, I mean, look at this orange. This orange is unbelievably bright. And especially if I'm working with Golos, it's all earth tones. So what you're wanting to do is match perfectly. And by matching perfectly with something that is not muted down, it's just not going to happen. I'm sorry to tell you. Sorry to be the guy to tell you. It's not going to happen. So, if you're not finding the color doesn't look right, you are knocking your head against the wall. You're like, no, it's so close. Why is it so close? It's so far. Just try your best to add a little bit of gray or black or white, and then the opposing color. So add a little bit of black, add a little bit of white. It makes such a difference on certain colors. Certain colors, I mean, I have taken colors right from the tube, and they look great. Don't tell anyone I said that. It's normally a no-no. Sometimes you just get lucky. Sometimes you pour a red, and you go, you know what? I'm just going to go for it, and it is perfect. Like, his staff is this exact red, was it red oxide? Yeah, red oxide from Golden Heavy. And it's just, I mean, obviously it's a very tiny thing, and I don't need to color match much. But still, it's like, it's nice to just dip your small dip your, can't even talk. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out if it's raining or not still. It's Florida, so it spontaneously rains. So this could always just be like the tiniest little rain cloud right over my house. And it'll go away before I go out tonight. Oh, I'm so happy it's spring. Ugh. I hate wearing socks. Like, it's the worst. You know what I mean? Like, I just hate wearing long socks and, like, wearing layers. Ugh, gross. That shit's gross to me. So, what the hell was I talking about? Oh, yeah. Add black and add some white. I'm telling you, bro. Or lady. Oh, so I'm going to give a shout out. I'm going to give a shout out in the world. There's this girl. There's Julia Camp. She's on YouTube. She comments on every single video I put out, and it makes things really nice. So Julia, I think I'm gonna make this a very long tutorial. But if you're watching, girl or guy named Julia, whatever, thank you so much. So I am about done with this Golos. I'm about done blending. I'm going to do some small stuff, but I just want to button up this this conversation now. I don't think you really care about seeing me put in these like light shadows of rocks and then signing the card, but that's pretty much all I'm doing. Oh, look, see? So I put too much black and I just wipe it, and it wipes off just enough black and makes this perfect, extremely small little rock shadows. Exactly what I wanted. Did you see that? I just used my finger and I pointed at what I wanted to take off and I rubbed it, and it came, and a small amount of it came off and left me with these extremely small, extremely blended, perfect little rocks. Alright, so before I leave, I just want to say thank you to anyone that is watching me on YouTube, which is the only place I'm going to post this. So my YouTube has literally stopped subscriptions. Like, I cannot get over 2K. I was going really well. I was getting like 20 a day, 30 a day. You know, I'd look and it'd be like, oh, you got 30 people to subscribe to you on YouTube, and I'm barely posting. And I'm like, this is great. I'm going to hit, you know, 10K in a year or something. You know, like, it's just like, it's super easy to just hit 40 a day, 30 a day. Damn, 30 a day, you know, that's 10K right there. That's awesome. So it just stopped. I don't know. I mean, maybe they give you a bunch of free views. They promote you really well, and then if you don't, I wasn't paying them, but maybe they want me to pay them, which you know, good luck. They want me to pay them to get more views, so I am going to probably not pay them, because it's very expensive. They take a lot of your money very quickly. I tried it for one day, and it was not fun. So, I want to thank you, my YouTube audience, from the bottom of my heart. You guys are awesome. I was featured on Rudy's video, which was amazing. I didn't get a lot of people really hitting me up. I mean, I got a bunch of my fans hitting me up, but it wasn't like new people, you know, which was kind of disappointing, but you know, it was just nice to be on there, and I want to thank everybody for trying to help me out on that video and try to get me a little bit more exposure on there. I am more than happy to answer all questions that come into me. Please leave them in the comments, especially if you've listened up to now. I'd love to see your comment, hey, I listened all the way through. This is probably going to be an hour, just shy of an hour. So I really appreciate everybody being on my YouTube. This is something I wanted to do for a while, and like the story I told before, a year ago, late March, a year ago, I took my altar seriously. I took my Instagram seriously. And a couple months ago, I made my YouTube channel. So the fact that you guys are here watching me do this for an hour, took 1 hour to do one Golos, is a big deal for me. I get a good amount of attention in my life, but getting attention for being an artist means absolutely everything for me. I want to be nothing but an artist. It's all I've wanted to do as a little kid. In school, all I wanted to do was an artist, or at least, support artists in whatever career I was trying to do back in the day. I absolutely love doing this. This is the red oxide. I'm just gonna go straight in. Look at that, right out of the tube, right onto his staff. Boom. Actually, it is a little darker. Never mind. I talked a bunch of shit. Now it's not what I said it was gonna be. A little bit of brown. Yeah, that's probably good. Boom. So thank you to everyone that watches all my videos, comments. I was doing YouTube Shorts for a while. I don't know if those are actually going anywhere, or if anyone's actually watching them anymore. They're getting okay views. They're not getting amazing views. I would love to get just 1,000 views on everything I post, which is my goal right now. If you didn't know, on YouTube Shorts, they don't monetize it, so I'm not making money off of my YouTube at all. It's just something fun and something that, I've wanted to do. I've wanted to have a YouTube channel. Here's the little mustache. And it is going so well. I wish my subscribers would go up. They have been stagnant for about a month now, which is not good. But I'm extremely happy with where I'm at in the internet. My Instagram is getting close to 9,000. What? I'll be doing a giveaway at 9,000. And I just want to say thank you guys so much. Comment below. And I love you very much. Tell all your friends to subscribe. And that is one exact Golos. Bibbidi bobbidi boo.